Now, the search for aliens has transcended beyond science fiction movies. Thousands of scientists are continuously trying to find clues of intelligent life forms across the vastness of the universe. But now, a new study says that the aliens could be sending us signals from the center of our very own Milky Way galaxy. We leave you with this report as we call it a wrap. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Beyond World is One. Stay tuned.
The question of whether we are alone in the universe has captivated human curiosity for centuries. As we look up to the vast night sky, some of us often wonder, are there other intelligent life forms that exist beyond our planet? Since the universe burst into existence after the Big Bang 13.8 billion years ago, the cosmos has been expanding. The observable universe is 92 billion light years in diameter. It's simply mind-boggling. But let's look at our cosmic neighborhood, our own galaxy, the Milky Way. The answer to the eternal question, are we alone in the universe, could be much closer to home, well, quite literally. In a quest to find extraterrestrial life, astronomers are paying close attention to the radio pulses emanating the core of our galaxy. Stars known as pulsars naturally emit narrow-frequency pulses, but humans also use them deliberately in technologies such as radars. Since these pulses have the capability to stand out against the space's background radio noise, they are likely to be an effective way to communicate at such long distances. Hence, scientists have considered them as a good option to listen to while they hunt for alien civilizations. This is according to a study reported in the Astronomical Journal, where researchers suggest that signals coming from the Milky Way's core may be evidence of the presence of intelligent alien life. So if aliens are attempting to communicate, it is possible that the clues lie within the core of the Milky Way. Scientists continue to focus their efforts on this area, diligently searching for any sign of an intelligent message sent from the vast expanse of space.
Representative Tim Burchett is one of the lawmakers who will lead the oversight hearings into Grush's claims. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, how believable do you find this whistleblower, David Grush?
I find him very believable, ma'am. He's a veteran. He served our country. Doesn't mean a lot in Washington, D.C., apparently, but in East Tennessee, it means a whole heck of a lot about people that served our country. He's decorated. I've known him for some while. We've been in contact for a good while. I've talked to so many other people, ma'am, that are risking their careers, literally, or their reputations. Pilots that have chased these craft that we've seen on video, that have no heat signature, that defy our laws of physics. I don't know how much more we can have of this. I really think what we're seeing now is the military machine is realizing there's some dollars out there, and our Pentagon, which loses over $1 billion a year in audits and nobody asks any question, is going to start asking us for more money to study the issue, when in fact, if they just release some of the files that they released to us that are so heavily redacted that they look like a piece of Swiss cheese, I just think we could get to the bottom of this a lot faster.
The House Oversight Chairman Comer has said he would ask you to lead the hearing on this. Any word on what that might happen, when that might happen?
Well, we're just trying to get confirmed folks here, know that they can come in and testify. That's really the only holdup, ma'am. I'm not, Chairman Comer is very kind to me, and the Speaker McCarthy has also agreed that we could have this hearing, and I'm honored that they'd put me in charge of it, but that's really the only holdup right now, is making sure we get everybody and we get their dates there. I get tired of these. We're over COVID. I'm tired of all these Zoom meetings. I want bodies in chairs.
I'm assuming you're going to have David Grush there to testify, right?
We're going to try. We are going to try. I think what he has to be really careful of is crossing over that line of speaking about something that maybe is classified or not, or taking out of context. And so we're going to work with him and his folks and hopefully get him here as well. I think he would be a real star.
And will you call on somebody from the Pentagon or the Department of Defense to come in? Because obviously what he's claiming is that there is a ultra top secret program, more top secret than the ArRo program that he was himself assigned to, that exists, that is keeping this information hidden from Congress and the American public.
I think at some time we will, ma'am, but the group that they put in charge of this, if you saw the Intelligence Committee that was open to the public, ma'am, they couldn't even spell UFO. They didn't have a clue about what's going on. And honestly, we really got hosed on that meeting because they built it up as they always do, and it was absolutely nothing. They could not slow down a 22-second videotape. My little daughter, who will be 16 on Wednesday, she could have stopped that tape, and they couldn't even stop the tape to show allegedly what something was that was filmed with a cell phone inside of a canopy of an airplane. They just pulled something out. And if you look at the Tic Tac videos that are out, 60 Minutes did a big expose on it, and there's been multiple talk shows about it, and it has the actual Navy pilots. We had a Navy pilot that was in the audience but was not allowed to come in because they had to give him press credentials. That's the kind of garbage we're putting up with, ma'am. You know, these congressmen, we're just spoon-fed this little stuff, and as long as we get our big PAC checks, we're happy. And the American public's ticked off, and I'm ticked off. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's start bringing some real people in there and quit with all the people that are covering up, asking them to fix the problem. Because, you know, dadgummit, they're not going to. All they're looking for is another check.
Representative Tim Burchett, thank you so much. Look forward to those hearings.
Due to the recent surge in sighting reports from all around the world, the UFO community endured a period of extreme heat. The odd silence of the Pentagon about the allegations that the government has previously had contact with aliens, but intentionally kept it a secret from the public, made it difficult for the general crowd to trust NASA and Pentagon when they held the first public meeting on UFOs, which is now officially referred to as UAPs. The Middle East is one of the regions that has suddenly become a UFO hotspot despite never having been seen or reported from. We'll get to it later, but first we need to mention that all of this is happening as a former intelligence official is allegedly leaking top-secret information to the U.S. Congress that claims the U.S. has intact and partially intact alien vehicles. What is going on? Welcome to You Curious. Discover more, know more. David Grush, a former combat officer in Afghanistan who also worked with the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force from 2019 to 2021, will be one of the first to be addressed. He claimed that for many years, the government and defense firms were uncovering alien technology, from incomplete pieces to complete vehicles. Based on the vehicle morphologies, material science tests, and the presence of unusual atomic arrangements and radioactive signatures, the objects are said to be of exotic origin or non-human intelligence, whether alien or ancient in origin. He declared, and we quote, "The non-human intelligence phenomenon is real. We are not alone. Retrievals of this kind are not limited to the United States. This is a global phenomenon, and yet a global solution continues to elude us. Things took a startling turn at this point." Mr. Grush further disclosed that information on these automobiles was being illegally suppressed from Congress. He said that government authorities retaliated against him when he disclosed confidential data regarding the vehicles. He spent 14 years working for U.S. intelligence before leaving the government in April. Thank you, Mr. Grush. We are grateful for the courage you showed.
Okay, if these non-human craft are in fact flying around the Earth on almost a nightly basis, would it make sense to you that one or more of these would crash or land?
Well, that's the assumption that we have to make if David's story is 100% true. If these objects are flying around, that have been for a number of years, the assumption would be that they would likely crash at some point and that there would be an operation to retrieve it.
It's interesting to note that similar additional information has already been privately provided, both on public record and off the air, by active and retired intelligence officers having the understanding of the highly classified operations.
They also found a live alien. That live alien was named Eva, and he was transported to, it was a male, was transported to Los Alamos.
Current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
In addition, Mr. Grush claimed that for many years the Air Force ran a misinformation campaign of incomprehensible UFO sightings. However, Congress is now demanding explanations. Will the common people ever learn the answers, though? Or will we constantly be left to speculate? If you take a look at the last few years, you'll see that beginning in 2018, there was an upsurge in UFO sightings. In 2020, there were sightings both during the day and at night. People began raising questions. And just as we were beginning to believe that the government would reveal something, the case of the Chinese spy balloon put an end to the whole situation. A balloon that allegedly entered U.S. territory without permission and flew across the skies for several days. It was a methodical approach to discourage individuals from asking questions and a carefully planned campaign to inform people that the UFO sightings are not extraterrestrial, but rather Chinese, America's new global enemy. But how long can they keep it a secret?
If NASA applies the same rigorous methodology toward UAPs that it applies to the study of possible life elsewhere, then we stand to learn something new and interesting, whatever the ultimate explanation is of those phenomena. And that's all I wanted to say right now.
In order to investigate UFOs over a 9-month period, NASA assembled an independent study team with the participation of 16 local experts from various fields. The study panel held its first public meeting on May 2031 to hold final discussions before it produces a report later this year, less than a year after starting its inquiry. The panel identified the absence of data and its fragmented character as the largest barrier to understanding UAPs during the meeting's opening remarks. Footage of an unexplained metallic spherical orb that was first spotted in 2022 flying somewhere above the Middle East was later made public by the panel during the session. Here it is. In this video, you can clearly see the orb zipping the Middle Eastern air at incredible speed. And this is not the only one. Here are some more of these from around the world. Look at this thing. Does it look like a spy balloon, or a drone, or anything that could explain its aerodynamics? The Congress held a 4-hour conference, but nothing was accomplished. They just continued going round and round and round, finally admitting that there is not enough information. Remember that these are classified reports. The classified ones continue to be kept secret. The metallic orbs are the most prevalent category of UAPs, according to Sean Kirkpatrick, director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office (RO) of the U.S. Department of Defense. They are reported from all over the world. The orbs have been seen moving at a variety of speeds. While some seem to remain stationary, others have been seen to be actively flying. The UAPs don't exhibit any signs of thermal exhaust, such as heat produced by a car's engine. We did not say that. NASA did. Anyway, the Pentagon has published a few more of these sightings. The fact that people have been discussing these things for so many years is absurd. If they didn't exist, how did people in the 1950s and 1960s learn about these orbs?
2011, the world was shaken by a massive earthquake in Japan that caused widespread destruction and devastation. But the earthquake also triggered a mysterious event at a nuclear power plant in Fukushima. After the accident, 10 strange objects appeared in the sky above the damaged reactor and hovered over the site for several hours before disappearing into the night. The UFOs were there for a reason. It's well known that UFOs have a keen interest in our nuclear technology, and the Fukushima incident may have caught their attention. Were they there to monitor the situation, or perhaps to intervene in some way? March 2011, the world was shaken by a massive earthquake in Japan that caused widespread destruction and devastation. But the earthquake also triggered a mysterious event at a nuclear power plant in Fukushima. After the accident, 10 strange objects appeared in the sky above the damaged reactor and hovered over the site for several hours before disappearing into the night. The UFOs were there for a reason. It's well known that UFOs have a keen interest in our nuclear technology, and the Fukushima incident may have caught their attention. Were they there to monitor the situation, or perhaps to intervene in some way?
This is a list of alleged UFO sightings in the United States. June 24, 1947, Maury Island, Washington. Maury Island Incident. Kenneth Arnold UFO sighting. The Maury Island incident is an early modern UFO encounter incident that happened on June 21, 1947. It allegedly took place shortly after the sighting of the original flying saucers by Kenneth Arnold. It is also one of the earliest reported instances of an alleged encounter with so-called men in black suits. On June 24, 1947, Arnold said he saw 9 unusual objects flying in a chain near Mount Rainier, Washington, while he was searching for a missing military aircraft in his call ArDeToo. He described the objects as almost blindingly bright when they reflected the sun's rays, their flight as erratic, like the tail of a Chinese kite, and flying at tremendous speed. Arnold's story was widely carried by the Associated Press and other news outlets. July 7, 1947. Helena, Montana. On July 7, 1947, Vernon Baird, a pilot of a commercial photographic plane, was mapping the region between Helena and Yellowstone Park. Baird claimed that he was at 32,000 feet when he saw a flying disc. He took an evasive action and the disc appeared to split into 2 sections and lose altitude over the Tobacco Root Mountains of western Montana. Bozeman's base looked for the UFO on the ground but found nothing. The next day, Baird's boss announced that the story was a hoax. July 1947. Roswell, New Mexico. Roswell UFO Incident. The Roswell UFO incident involved the recovery of materials near Roswell, New Mexico, in early July 1947, which have since become the subject of intense speculation and research. There are widely divergent views on what actually happened. The United States military maintains that what was recovered was a top-secret research balloon that had crashed, whereas many ufologists believe the wreckage was of a crashed alien craft. The incident has evolved into a recognized and referenced pop culture phenomenon. January 7, 1948. Maysville, Kentucky. Mantell UFO Incident. The Mantell incident involved the crash and death of 25-year-old Kentucky Air National Guard pilot, Captain Thomas F. Mantell, on January 7, 1948, while in pursuit of a UFO. Historian David Michael Jacobs argued that the Mantell case marked a shift in both public and governmental perceptions of UFOs. July 24, 1948. Montgomery, Alabama. Chiles-Whitted UFO Encounter. The Chiles-Whitted UFO encounter is alleged to have occurred on July 24, 1948, when 2 American commercial pilots reported that their Douglas DC-3 had nearly collided with a strange torpedo-shaped object. The incident was investigated by the U.S. Air Force's Project Sign. October 1, 1948. Fargo, North Dakota. Gorman dogfight. The Gorman dogfight is alleged to have occurred on October 1, 1948, when a U.S. Air Force pilot sighted and pursued a UFO for 27 minutes over Fargo, North Dakota. May 11, 1950. McMinnville, Oregon. McMinnville UFO photographs. The McMinnville UFO photographs were taken on a farm near McMinnville, Oregon on May 11, 1950, by Paul and Evelyn Trent. August 15, 1950. Great Falls, Montana. Mariana UFO incident. The Mariana UFO incident occurred during the summer of 1950 in Great Falls, Montana. The event garnered national media attention, as the concept of UFOs and alien invasion was extremely popular amongst Americans at the time. August 25, 1951, Lubbock, Texas. Lubbock Lights. The Lubbock Lights were a V-shaped formation of lights seen over the town of Lubbock, Texas in August 1951. May 24, 1952. Burbank, California. Orfeo Angelucci. Beginning in the summer of 1952, according to Angelucci in his book The Secret of the Saucers, 1955, he began to encounter flying saucers and their friendly human-appearing pilots during his drives home from an aircraft plant. July 13, 1952. Washington, D.C., 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO incident. The 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO incident was a series of unidentified flying reports from July 13 to 29, 1952, over Washington, D.C. A July headline from the New York Times read, "Flying objects near Washington spotted by both pilots and radar. Air Force reveals reports of something, perhaps saucers, traveling slowly but jumping up and down." September 12, 1952. Flatwoods, West Virginia. Flatwoods monster. 6 local boys and a local woman of Flatwoods, West Virginia reported sighting a UFO landing and later discovered a bizarre-looking creature near the site on September 12, 1952. November 23, 1953. Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Felix Moncla. Felix Moncla, Jr. was a United States Air Force pilot who disappeared with 2nd Lieutenant Robert Wilson while pursuing an unidentified flying object over Lake Superior in 1953. The U.S. Air Force reported that Moncla had crashed and that the unknown object was a misidentified Canadian Air Force airplane. But the Royal Canadian Air Force, RCAF, disputed this claim, reporting that none of their craft were near the area in question. November 2, 1957, Levelland, Texas. Levelland UFO case. The Levelland UFO case occurred on November 2 to 3, 1957, in the small town of Levelland, Texas. Levelland, which in 1957 had a population of about 10,000, is located west of Lubbock on the flat prairie of the Texas Panhandle. September 19, 1961. Lancaster, New Hampshire. Betty and Barney Hill abduction. Betty and Barney Hill claimed to have been abducted by extraterrestrials on September 19 to 20, 1961. Their story, commonly called the Hill abduction and occasionally the Zeta Reticuli incident, was the first widely publicized UFO abduction report. April 24, 1964. Socorro, New Mexico. Lonnie Zamora incident. Lonnie Zamora was a New Mexico police officer who reported a UFO close encounter on Friday, April 24, 1964, near Socorro, New Mexico. September 3, 1965. Exeter, New Hampshire. Exeter incident. The Exeter incident of Exeter, New Hampshire occurred on September 3, 1965. A UFO the size of a barn was seen as close as 500 feet away by a teenager and 2 police officers. December 9, 1965. Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. Kecksburg UFO incident. The Kecksburg UFO incident of Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, occurred on December 9, 1965. A large, brilliant fireball was seen by thousands in at least 6 states and Ontario, Canada. It streaked over the Detroit, Michigan and Windsor, Ontario area, dropped reported metal debris over Michigan and northern Ohio, and caused sonic booms in western Pennsylvania. It was generally assumed and reported by the press to be a meteor. April 17, 1966. Akron, Ohio. 2 officers of the Portage County Sheriff's Department saw a moving object in the sky near Ravenna, Ohio. Following an investigation, the Air Force reported that the officers had observed an artificial satellite and the planet Venus. 1967. Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana. An incident on March 16, 1967, at Malmstrom Air Force Base involved reports of unidentified aircraft that allegedly affected the operational status of Echo flight missile systems at the base. 1969. Leary, Georgia. Jimmy Carter UFO incident. Jimmy Carter claimed that he had seen a UFO in 1969. In 1973, while governor of Georgia, he filed a report with the International UFO Bureau in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. October 11, 1973. Pascagoula, Mississippi. Pascagoula abduction. The abduction of Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker, also known as the Pascagoula abduction, is, after the Hill abduction, among the best-known cases of reports of alien abduction. January 12, 1975. North Bergen, New Jersey. Stonehenge incident. Occurred in the North Hudson Park near the Stonehenge apartment building in North Bergen, New Jersey, as was reported in the Village Voice and other local media. November 5, 1975. Snowflake, Arizona. Travis Walton. Travis Walton claims to have been abducted by a UFO on November 5, 1975, while working on a logging crew in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest in Arizona. Walton could not be found, but reappeared after 5 days of intensive searches. August 27, 1979. Stephen, Minnesota. Val Johnson incident. At 1:40 a.m. in August 1979, in Marshall County, Minnesota, Deputy Sheriff Val Johnson was on duty and driving close to the North Dakota border when his patrol car was struck by a blinding ball of light. Johnson was knocked unconscious, and his patrol car was damaged. December 29, 1980. Dayton, Texas. Cashlandrum incident. The Cashlandrum incident was a reported UFO sighting in 1980, after which witnesses claimed damage to their health. It is one of very few UFO cases to result in civil court proceedings. It might be classified as a close encounter of the second kind, due to its reported physical effects on the witnesses and their automobile. November 11, 1987. Gulf Breeze, Florida. Gulf Breeze UFO incident. The Gulf Breeze UFO incident occurred on November 11, 1987, in Gulf Breeze, Florida. March 8, 1994. Multiple, Michigan. 1994 Lake Michigan UFO event. Over 100 witnesses reported 5 or 6 objects, cylindrically shaped or circles with blue, red, white and green lights across West Michigan. March 13, 1997. Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix Lights. The Phoenix Lights, sometimes referred to as the Lights over Phoenix, is the popular name given to a series of optical phenomena that took place in the sky over the U.S. states of Arizona and Nevada on March 13, 1997. Lights of varying descriptions were seen by thousands of people between 1930 and 2230 Mountain Standard Time, in a space of about 300 miles, from the Nevada line, through Phoenix, to the edge of Tucson. UFO proponents claimed they were part of aircraft unknown to man, while the USAF identified them as flares dropped by A-10 Warthog aircraft which were on training exercises. In 2007, former Arizona Governor Fife Symington came forward and admitted that he had seen a massive, delta-shaped craft silently navigate over Squaw Peak in 1997. January 5, 2000. Highland, Illinois. Black Triangle, UFO. The St. Clair Triangle, UFO over Illinois, Southern Illinois UFO, or Highland, Illinois UFO sighting occurred on January 5, 2000, over the towns of Highland, Dupo, Lebanon, Summerfield, Millstadt, and O'Fallon, Illinois, beginning shortly after 4 a.m. 5 on-duty Illinois police officers in separate locales, along with various other witnesses, cited and reported a massive, silent, triangular aircraft operating at an unusual range of near hover to incredible high speed at treetop altitudes. The incident was examined in an ABC special, Seeing is Believing, by Peter Jennings. August 21, 2004. Chicago, Illinois. A triangular formation of reddish lights were seen at low to intermediate altitude by hundreds of witnesses on 3 separate occasions in late 2004 and early 2005, producing multiple videos, photos, and mainstream local news coverage over 2 suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. The objects maneuvered slowly within a busy airspace near O'Hare International Airport. The incident was reported by local media. November 7, 2006. Chicago, Illinois. Chicago O'Hare UFO sighting 2006. At approximately 4:30 p.m. on November 7, 2006, federal authorities at Chicago O'Hare International Airport received a report that a group of 12 airport employees were witnessing a metallic, saucer-shaped craft hovering over Gate C-17. January 5, 2009. Morristown, New Jersey. Morristown UFO. On January 5, 2009, 5 unidentified red objects were seen over Morristown, New Jersey. On April 1, 2009, Joe Rudy and Chris Russo admitted it was a hoax and came forward with video evidence proving they were the perpetrators, saying they wanted to demonstrate how easy it is to fool the so-called UFO experts. February 19, 2018. Desert, Arizona. According to the Federal Aviation Administration, 3 commercial pilots saw an unidentified object fly over them in open airspace above Arizona. Investigators reported that the pilots mostly likely saw a high-altitude research balloon. February 21, 2021. Clayton, New Mexico. A pilot, at an altitude of 37,000 feet, reported seeing a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing, moving really fast right over the top of them, according to published audio. American Airlines confirmed that the radio transmission came from Flight 2292. FAA a few days later stated, a pilot reported seeing an object over New Mexico shortly after noon local time on Sunday, February 21, 2021. FAA air traffic controllers did not see any object in the area on their radar scopes.